Last week, it was reported that a war crimes complaint was filed in Canada in connection with the planned 30-meter telescope project on Mauna Kea. Since then, Kaho'okahi Kanuha, one of the two individuals that made the international trip to deliver the complaint, has returned to Hawaii.
But we got 2 copies in of the war crime complaints and the war crime reports, and one went to the Department of Justice, the Crimes Against Humanity and War Crimes section, and the other went to the RCMP, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, to their Sensitive and International Investigation National Division section. So those are the two places we needed to get it into.
Kanuha is a spokesperson for the group that is blocking TMT from the summit of Mauna Kea. We spoke to him in Hilo on Saturday afternoon.
Well, legally I'm not a U.S. citizen, but within the system that we're living, I'm a U.S. citizen, but under duress. Because it's a system that we're forced to live in, and that's the way it is. And so, getting into Canada was actually a little bit hard because the customs were kind of asking questions, what are you here for? And I wasn't, so inclined to give them all of the answers. So that meeting went a little bit, or not that meeting, but that exchange went a little bit longer. So eventually I told him, we're here to visit the Department of Justice. We have some complaints to file, and that's the place that we're going to be headed to.
The complaint was drafted by Kanuha's attorney, Dexter Kaiama.
And I've been following the brave young men and women and the activities that they've been conducting on the Mauna of Kea.
Kanuha was accompanied by Dr. Keanu Sai, who drafted a detailed war crimes report at the request of Kaiama.
What we're advocating is, if you're going to build a telescope on Mauna Kea, do it according to the law. And right now, everything that is done on Mauna Kea is in direct violation of international law and the laws of occupation.
Shortly after the headline-grabbing arrest that took place on the mountain on April 2nd, Big Island Video News spoke to both men.
That very contract between the state of Hawaii and the TMT construction and on all affiliates is in fact void. And because that's void, what's happening now is the construction that's taking place, because there is no valid contract, is the destruction of property, which is a violation of the Hague and Geneva Convention. Those are war crimes. That's the information that we also want to provide to those institutions and those affiliates so that they can be aware and they're placed on notice so that we can prevent them from committing those war crimes.
Please hear us!
And what's interesting is that India and Canada, as successor nations to the British government, in fact, has successor contracts and relations with the Hawaiian Kingdom. Japan has a direct treaty relationship with the Hawaiian Kingdom, so they need to be cognizant of that information as they move forward.
And we have trust and faith that the Canadian authorities will follow their procedures as well. They assured us that they're going to do their due diligence. They take it very, very seriously. They fully understood what we were saying. There was some hesitation and some defense in a sense about, Hawaii is a part of the United States of America. We have treaties with America. We need to honor those. But upon explaining to them the situation, they came to realize that it might not be as simple as that. And so, if they have the obligation to honor their treaties with America, then they also have the obligation to honor their treaty with Hawaii from 1851. And that treaty affords me, as a Hawaiian national, the same rights and protection as a Canadian citizen in Canadian territory. So that was kind of the strategy that we used there. They understood it, and they assured us that they're gonna start a preliminary inquiry into the reports and the claims, and upon finding probable cause, they'll go ahead and launch a criminal investigation. Huge ramifications. So it's not something to be taken lightly. It's not something to joke about. These are serious claims, serious complaints that are being made, and the Canadian authorities know that. So there's no joking about it. It's not a small thing. It is a big thing, and if these things do go through, if the investigation starts up and they find these people, guilty of committing these crimes, there's huge ramifications to be had. At the very least, what we want to see is a stop to any further construction, which they have done up to this point. But we don't want to see any continuation or any further construction until this preliminary inquiry is finished. And so that's kind of the call to the governor, to TMT at this point, is hold off, stand down, and really not just because that's what we want, but for your own protection.